division landscape. The way the division is right now, and we've talked about this, the Midwest Division is probably the hardest division in the AHL. Everybody in that division is 500 or better. And when you look at how things will shake up in the playoffs, at most you may see occasionally 4 teams from a 5-team division make the playoffs, but you want to try and get to the top 3 to give yourself the best chance of being in the top 8 in the conference. You start getting to the 4th place team in the division, you better hope your division really cleans up against the other teams from outside the division. In the 3 division, in a conference format, it's tough for a 5th place team in a 5-team division to make the playoffs. So the Monsters want to make sure they make some progress in the division as well as in the conference.
Absolutely. I was just looking at that as you're saying. And you know what? This is real. There's so much moving day, whatever, moving room here for teams, because 10 points is the difference between where the Monsters are and home court advantage, or home ice advantage, in the playoffs, because you're right there in the top 5 or top 4 or 5 when you move up. Just 10 points separates 5th through the Monsters down there at 12th. So a lot of jockeying to be done here. As you said, it starts to put the onus. And you're right. Every one of our conversations, it's amazing. It's 3.5 months already in the books for this season. You don't even realize how quickly it climbs up on you.
No, I was just having a conversation earlier today with somebody about that, and this is my 7th year working in pro hockey, and it's funny because when I started doing this, it felt like a season lasted 6 months. And then as time has gone on, it seems like each season that I'm a part of, each season goes faster than the last one.
I totally can appreciate that, because I'm with you. Same thing here. Whenever you start something new, it seems like it takes, even just broadcasting a game, I've gotten into your neck of the woods a bit. I do some football and basketball, high school play-by-play, kind of dipping my feet in there. And, man, boy, did a football game felt like it took 6 hours, the first couple that I called. By the end of the season, man, we were packing up before, wow, the game's already over, because you get that comfort level, and I'm with you. But I can see what you're saying here too, because I'm with you too. Sometimes a season, and maybe it's just the nature of the beast, sometimes it feels longer, but yeah, this one here has absolutely flown by. As you said, after this weekend, they are into the second half of the season. So this weekend's big. You've got 3 games on the road. You got Chicago on Friday, and then back-to-back with Iowa coming up on Saturday and Sunday. Talk to me a bit about what the Monsters have in front of them this weekend.
Well, Chicago, the Monsters are 2-2 against them this year. First time this season, the Monsters went out to Chicago. Didn't go very well. They lost both of those games. Chicago came to the Q in early December, and the Monsters won a pair during that stretch. So we've seen the Monsters have success against Chicago, and over the course of the Monsters' history, there's really no team that's had their number more than the Chicago Wolves have. And the Monsters are going to hope to, swing that around a little bit. Like I said, the Monsters have won the last 2 meetings between these teams. Chicago has some very good players. They're a physical team. They've got a track record of success, and they kind of have a track record of being a second-half team, which, kind of worries me a little bit, because if history kind of continues itself, then Chicago is going to be the team that's poised to make a run here starting pretty soon, if not, this weekend. So Monsters are going to have to come out with a big showing on Saturday or on Friday, not only because Chicago's the team they're chasing, but also to set the tone for the weekend. They've got 2 in Iowa after that, Saturday and Sunday afternoon. And, you can't really let the record right now fool you. Iowa is at the bottom of the Western Conference, but they had a completely dreadful start. They had a head coaching change, and since the head coaching change have been vastly different. So, you look at their last 10, they're right around 500, maybe a little better in their last 10 games as far as how the Iowa Wild has been playing. Still a team that, you want to make sure you get in there and get wins against a team like that, because they have struggled. But that's not the Iowa Wild that really came out of the gate in October and the first part of November and didn't really show a whole lot of anything. They've changed some things. Like I said, head coach changed. They're a different team. Monsters have to have. This is a very important road trip, and with a lot of our conversations, especially when you're trying to you want to make sure you come back having made up some ground, and that you don't come, having to make up ground because you just slipped on a road trip. So I think, the Monsters, it'd be awesome to see them get 2 out of 3 this weekend, and I think that's definitely doable.
For sure. And, we say 5-game road trip because that's what it is, but really it's 8 out of 10 because they come home for those 2 with San Road for 3 more with OKC and Milwaukee. So really it's a stretch of 8 out of 10 over a couple of weeks to get you through until the beginning of February. This weekend, very important. And as you said, Monsters clearly not in a position, you never are, but they definitely not in a position to look past anybody, as you said, and or to just look and go, we should. No, you got to go take care of business, and it would be a good weekend for them indeed to grab a couple of those here before they come home. And then we'll see. Obviously, you and I can talk next week about the outcome of this. It's 3 in a row. And those are always, we talk about the dynamics as well of 3 games in 3 nights. That's a tough one, especially when you've got a evening tip or puck drop on Saturday, followed up with an afternoon. It's not super early, but it's still a mid-afternoon on Sunday. Tell those guys it's not super early getting back out there. So it's a tough one here this weekend before they get through it and come back to the queue next week.
Big stretch, not only, like you said, not only because you've got a lot of road games, but you've got Chicago. You can't look past Iowa, but then after Iowa, you've got San Antonio back at the queue. You've got Milwaukee, Oklahoma City. Everybody I just mentioned, with the exception of the Iowa Wild, is a team that's currently, in or right around that playoff picture that the Monsters are going to have to jump over. That adds a lot of importance to those games.
Yep, absolutely. Doug Plagens calls all of the action across the Monsters radio and television network. And real quick, before I let you go, Doug, I just wanted to mention as well, saw the on the Monsters, LakeErieMonsters.com, of course, the website, 2015 AHL All-Star Game for the first time since Tyson Berry a couple years ago. Monsters to be represented here. Stephen Elliott going to represent the Monsters for the Western Conference squad.
Yep, Stephen Elliott's going to be suiting up for the Western Conference squad at the upcoming AHL All-Star Classic. Well deserved for him. He's been among the Monsters' leaders in points this season. He leads the Monsters in power play goals, leads the Monsters in game-winning goals. He's posted a good offensive season. He's been solid on the back end, and he's a guy who just looks very comfortable out there right now. And he's been doing a lot of good things, coming up with big goals for the Monsters. So Monday, January 26th, they'll be out there as part of the Western Conference squad when the All-Star game's played out in Utica, New York.
There it is. That's coming up later in the month. Coming up this weekend, Monsters at Chicago. That's Friday, 8 p.m. our time, right? They're an hour behind, so that's an 8 p.m. tip-off Eastern. And then they've got Iowa back-to-back on Saturday and Sunday, 8 p.m. and 4 p.m. puck drops on those as well. Doug, enjoy the weekend. It's going to be a grind, I know. And then we'll talk next week about how the Monsters fared, and we'll look ahead to the Oklahoma City coming in for 2.
Sounds great. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for being here. As always, Doug Plagens, voice of the Lake Erie Monsters. You guys can check him out on Twitter at Doug Plagens. Check the Monsters out on Twitter at Monsters Hockey, all one word. And you can check them out on the interwebs there, LakeErieMonsters.com. Make sure you bookmark it today. Man, you know what? I'm not even taking another break. That is the end of the day already. Ran through it here. Another chock full of goodness edition of the Sports Fix, you guys. I want to thank, of course, Doug Plagens, who was just with us here. Always a good time. It's been 2 weeks since we've had Doug on the show. Good to catch up with him. Want to thank my man John McMullen for kicking things off here. Larry, when's Dollar Dog Night? Every Friday night's Sugardale Dollar Dog Night. Of course, they pay for that advertising plug, but got to get it right. It's Sugardale Dollar Dog Night. But anyways, it's every Friday. Anyways, thanks to John McMullen from the Sports Network for being with us here earlier in the show. Dan Wismar, as always, a great time catching up with my man Dan Wismar from the Cleveland Fan. Tomorrow, the BSK is going to be in the house. We'll talk about his thoughts on the Buckeyes and their victory and whatever else he feels like getting into. Mike Brandenberry from DidTheTribeWinLastNight.com. He'll be here tomorrow. I was going to say, man, see, you get into you do everything 16, 17, 18 weeks in a row. BJ Riddell, fantasy football is over. Although not on DraftKings.com. That's just a little quick plug for them. But yeah, so that's going to be it. We'll have BSK. We'll have Mike Brandenberry here. Eddie Jansen, that's right, from More Than a Fan Cleveland. Hey man, it's a work in progress with the formats. I wasn't sure if Eddie was joining us on Thursday or Friday. Just checked my calendar. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're talking Cavs with Eddie Jansen. We're talking Tribe with Mike Brandenberry. We're talking Buckeyes. By the way, did you know they're the national champions and it's undisputed? Yeah, we'll talk about that with the BSK. Plus anything else you guys want to talk about, we're here to do it tomorrow live. Same bat time, same bat channel, noon, right here across the Sports Fix Radio Network. What the hell? The phone's ringing. I'm going to the phones. I will give you 30 seconds to sign us off the show. Caller, you're up on the Sports Fix.
Hey, J-Rock Daddy.
Whoa, LG, in my ear. Let me turn you down before we blow somebody's speakers out. What's up, baby?
Can you imagine that we're national champions? How good does that feel, brother?
I cannot imagine it because it's reality, my friend. It is reality.
Hey,
yes, absolutely. National
Let me just
champions,
run this
baby.
by you because I heard you say Dollar Dog Night is Friday, every Friday night. Can you imagine if the Monsters had used Johnny Manziel as the puck night? That place would be
come
packed,
on.
brother.
Why
we
we
couldn't even get
brother?
the ticket.
No, come on, man. Why we got to take cheap shots at the guy, man? He's already going to be out of the NFL in a year or less as it is, man. No, I'm just kidding, but yeah, I'm with you, man. You know what? We don't even got to do that. All we got to do is go, you know what? The Browns drafted Johnny Manziel. I don't care because the Buckeyes are the national champions. It doesn't work all the time, but it'll work for now until somebody helps us out.
It'll work for the next,
It'll work
several
for
months, J-Rock
yes,
Daddy.
Absolutely, baby. It'll at least get us to opening day.
What do you think of all this talk of Cardale? I mean, it sounded to me like you're a pro for Cardale to come out into the draft. You really believe that that's the best thing after 3 games, J-Rock Daddy?
Well, it depends on what he's going to do next year. I mean, I seriously, I'm looking at this more from a, I don't want to say being a businessman, but looking at the business realities of it. I don't think Cardale Jones is an NFL quarterback today with the other stuff that comes with it. Physically, right now, you can drop that boy in the middle of the field and he can play ball physically with anybody. But there's a lot more to it than that. My point is just the aspect of, and I think Dan hit it. If it was a clear cut, hey, if you go back, you're coaching your quarterback in the Buckeyes. If you come out, you're going to the NFL. Now that's different. Stay in college, but the competition, JT Barrett. I mean, just like I said, one good quarterback's not going to play. Either JT Barrett's not going to start, or Cardale Jones, or Braxton, whatever, whoever you. Point being, some good quarterbacks won't be playing football. Oh, hell yeah, that's a good problem to have. But that's part of my thinking if I'm Cardale Jones, too. Plus, your stock's going to be pretty high. Again, you could probably come back, and if you start, you could talk yourself up from the 3rd or 2nd round into the 1st. But there's also the chance that it goes, usually it doesn't go the opposite way, but you never know. My point is just being, no, I don't think he's ready mentally for the NFL. That being said, I don't know that it's not his best option just because of the way it worked out, man. I mean, a lot of the things that you check off.
J-Rock, let me just make one more great point. I just
go ahead.
I just think the guy looks really good as a quarterback when you got a running back who rushes in a national championship game for 246 yards. That takes a heck of a lot of pressure off the passer, buddy.
Oh, it absolutely does, but it also makes a quarterback look good when he can flick the wrist and put it 85 yards on a fly. And, boy, he does throw it like a man. But that is not the only thing that matters. If it was, Derek Anderson would be the MVP of the league every season, as we know. There's a whole lot more to it than that. And who knows? This could be all for moot, man. He could very easily come back. He may just want to come back just to play college. Some guys don't care. They want to go to college, and when they're done, then they'll go make their money. I don't think he's that guy, but we'll see. Either way, I don't know. LG, anything else?
This is another guy out of the Glenville Football Factory,
That's right,
J-Rock,
baby.
and I guarantee you one day we will see Cardale Jones suiting it up in the NFL because nobody gets him ready any better at the high school level than Ted Ginn Sr., man. I tell you, this is a credit to the program down there at Glenville. I mean, he gets these kids in college. I'm a little disappointed with Cardale's statement, we're not here to play school. I think he was kidding around a little bit. He's got to take his classwork a little bit more serious because you got to read and write to do commercials. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, I mean, only so much. He's at least enough to cash the check. No, I'm with you. I'm just kidding. That's the way I look at it, too. But what I just said is the way some people look at it. But you're right, and I agree with you. We'll see what happens, man.
Look at Manny Ramirez, J-Rock Daddy. There was time.
Hey.
He never even